What's up, y'all? This is Ashanti McCormick, aka Pablo Escobar, here with the Devil's Advocate podcast, and I want to talk about something different since it's October. We're getting towards Halloween. I want to do something different tonight, which is the review on one of my favorite horror movie characters, but would probably be the least favorite movie that came out recently, which was the Leatherface movie, which came out in 2017. This movie, it just kind of gave me it gave me doubts on if they can even really keep up with the whole structure of what Leatherface is and who he is as a character. Because this movie just kind of bombed, really. The movie was directed by Alexandre Bustillo and Julian Murray, but it was the 8th installment to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, but it takes place on I believe after the first one. So none of these movies really connect. They all have different connections, but it was the 8th installment, so basically it takes place, it's the origin before the first one, if that makes sense. So the movie takes place where they changed the names up. Usually his name was Hoyt, was Thomas, and or Hoyt. Sometimes they changed his name up so many times. I can't keep up with what Leatherface's name is. At this point, I just call him Leatherface. But his name is Jed in this one, and he is learning how to kill people. At this point, his family is teaching him like how to kill people, and what they're trying to do is have him kill someone who they suspect was stealing their pigs. And so he doesn't really know what to do. He doesn't really want to do it per se, and ends up just pretty much cutting the dude's leg off at most. So then they finish off the job, and after that he leads a teenage girl who just so happened to be the sheriff's daughter into their farmhouse and led a trap where she fell under, and pretty much they killed her. So anyways, the sheriff takes the kids, takes him and his brother Bud, and takes them to a psychiatric ward, basically till they can be they're old enough to stand trial at that point. So it's 10 years pass, and they change their names so nobody knows who these kids are in the system. They do these to all the kids, I guess, in the psychiatric ward. So his name is the another kid's name was Bud, and Jed's name was Jackson. They meet this girl, Liz, who becomes a new nurse in the psych ward, and she becomes friends with Jackson, aka Jed. So, and the whole thing goes out with her. Basically, you got the boy and the girl, and the girl falls in. They start understanding each other pretty much, and it becomes kind of like a romance. And don't expect it to become that type of romance at all. He tells her that basically what goes on in these psych wards isn't what it really seems, and that she should look at the chambers late at night. She goes and sees the chambers, and after, they have Bud strapped up, and they're doing electroshock on him to punish him, like extreme electroshock, like pretty much trying to fry his brain. So after that, pretty much his mom comes in. Their mom tries to get him out, and she is bloodthirsty on trying to get her kids out of that system, and basically she causes she basically breaks into the whole system, breaks into the whole mental hospital, and causes a whole riot, and all these kids are starting, and pretty much everybody's starting to leave. All these kids are able to escape and shit, and Bud gets out of the straps and starts killing all the doctors that are doing the electroshock therapy on him. Long story short, they escape. It's him and two other kids in the psych ward that pretty much take the girl Liz. So it's Bud, Jackson, and these two other kids from the psych ward, and they have the girl hostage pretty much throughout the whole story. Pretty much, actually, the two other kids, because they take Bud and Jackson as hostages too. So, and they're gonna kill them anyways once they get to Mexico. So the sheriff finds out that they've escaped, and he's bloodthirsty on finding these kids dead or alive. Rather dead, actually. And it was just a really bad story. Like, if you really want to watch it, I would give it at least a 3-star. The whole movie wasn't really as good as what I thought it was going to be. And with all the Leatherface movies that have came out, which was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1, the first ever one, that movie didn't even need to show enough gore. My mother even saw that movie and said it scared the living hell out of her. Like, that movie was psychological horror. And that's what a lot of movies fail to do nowadays. It's more of gore that they think pertains to the audience. But in reality, it's just kind of nasty just seeing all that shit. But they ruined the whole premise. Like, I don't know, Leatherface isn't what he is in the movie, and it kind of just ruined. Like Leatherface doesn't have a nose, and he ends up still having a nose in this movie. And I was like, how does he end up without the nose? Are they going to explain what happens to his nose? Because Leatherface doesn't have a nose at all. That's why he wears the mask. So the whole movie it wasn't really as what I expected it to be. I seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one in 2004, and that was amazing. That was an amazing movie. And the beginning wasn't as good as the 2004 reboot, but it was still an insane movie. Like, they still picked up on how to fucking scare somebody. And the movies nowadays just fail to do that. The last one they brought out, Texas Chainsaw, which I didn't know why they put it out there like that. It wasn't even the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was Texas Chainsaw. And it had Trey Songz in it. And I was like, why is Trey Songz in this? So the whole movie was just, I wouldn't give it as even 3 stars. Probably like 2.5 at most. But I would say you should watch it. If you like bad horror movies, this is something you should definitely watch. But now with them trying to make a new reboot, which basically takes place after the first one, so they cancel out all the other 6 or 7 movies that they made, and basically they're taking place after, what the new one will be taking after the first one, the first ever one, which was in 1974, and will pick up basically 40 years later, and Leatherface is an old man now. But if they can't really pick up on what pertains to the audience, on what like the horror characters are, every horror character is different. So I'm not saying like they should do this with every horror character, but Leatherface is more of psychological and mental and physical horror. Like, the chainsaw is meant to fucking cut people up. Yeah, like, I'm not saying like get the gore factor up, but you gotta measure it too. Like, the first one was wild, and that shit, and he was using that chainsaw heavy in that movie, in the first one, and it didn't even need like all the blood and guts and shit. It was just scary. So if they can hopefully do this with the new one, I would hopefully say that Leatherface has a chance maybe with a couple more movies, but with this whole with the whole origin thing, I just don't like that either. Like, nobody likes the origin shit. Like, honestly, like, I like to know, like, oh, what is that, like, what is Jason? Like, I don't know, like, he's just a killer, he just kills. Like, now, like, you know what his storyline is and stuff, and what his background is, and it makes it kind of less scary in my idea. But I don't know. You guys see the movie and tell me what you think. Give it a like and share on Facebook and Twitter, which I do share it on. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys have a happy Halloween and social distance, whatever they're doing. I hope they at least give the kids a chance to at least trick or treat before this shit gets even crazier. But enjoy your Halloween and have a good night.